Hello and welcome back. So here we are. It is now the 3rd of February 2022, and after 3.5, 4 weeks odd, finally back in Italy. So ciao. Lots of people about. It's very spring-like here compared to the snow and ice and the freezing weather we've been having in Innsbruck over the last couple of days. So everything's still here, nothing's moved. That pillar there looks great, looks much better than it did. Still lots to do though. So out here for a few days, and the plan is going to be brew some beer. I'm going to give the first load of beer a shot. We've decided to do that. I'll be doing that with a guy from the village on Sunday morning. We'll see how we get on. And then for the rest, it'll be up on the terrace there, keeping everything going. So more plastering, more tidying up. There is a lot to do. But once that's done, I can move across to this side here and get started on the proper kitchen and the terrace over there. So here's all the stuff. I carried some of it upstairs already. I've bought a compressor and welder, some CO2 for the beer. So hopefully it'll be a productive few days. So here's my trip down, and I'll be right back as soon as I start doing something useful. Okay, well, it is now morning number 1. The weather's changed. It'll be lovely again tomorrow apparently, but it is raining today. That little emergency bit of pipe up there seems to be working very well. I haven't seen any overflow. It did rain a little harder earlier on, and it looks like that bit of wall up there behind these beautiful lights, which was problematic, now looks completely dry. So that's worked. So basically what I'm going to do is just keep going exactly where we left off. So I'm going to plaster up there. I'm going to do more plaster layers here on this bit of wall, although that looks quite good. But up at the top here, over there, down here where the staircase, where the staircase was, and so on. So basically keep going, and I'm going to remove this metal shutter, because I have these shutters here down that I left down there in the rain to clean them up a little bit, that I'll have to adjust, but they will be the definitive shutters. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove these metal shutters, and then I'm going to mix up a first bucket of plaster and start layering it up. And as that's drying, then I can get on and do some other things. Okay, well, there you go. As is always the case, that was a little bit more complicated than I was hoping. So I've cut off, was in fact just 4 random bits of metal and lots of cement. But this means that I can shore this up. I shall go and get some shutters and see how much I need to modify. I'll be needing new hinges, like on that one over there, I guess. But it looks like this is quite sturdy stuff, so I should be able to screw them in. We'll see how we do. So I'm going to try and get these little bits of metal out, because that's probably more or less where I'll be drilling. I don't want to drill into those, so I'll do that quickly, and then I definitely will mix up my first bucket of stuff and start over there, and then I can have a big clean up again. I seem to constantly say I'm going to do a clean up and then don't, but I will now. Well, so back in the day, someone was taking no risks, this much in the wall, and then bent over. So these shutters were never going to fall off, amazingly enough. Well, the rest of the house around it might have fallen down. So the question is it worth doing all four and making 4 huge holes? And I think the answer to that is probably yes, because moisture will get in and these will slowly rust, and then they'll stain the beautiful plastering, or the not so beautiful plastering, but the plastering, the new plastering, and the paintwork. So yeah, I'm going to I'm just going to take them out, and then I'll have to plaster up as best as possible. I'm going to be painting around these windows and doors anyway. You see there's like a little bevel. You can barely see it here, but it is there. So that should be light grey, and then the rest will be white. I think that'll look quite nice. Okay, well, change of plan, there is no way. So I'm just going to have to cut that one off. I'll still try the last 2. They might be a bit easier, who knows. But that one is knocked out such a huge hole, and I've been banging on it for about 10 minutes and it's not moving at all. Okay, well, and there we go. So 1 out of 4. Plenty more plastering to do around there. I'm going to go and get a shutters, or a pair of shutters from downstairs, and see how much I need to remove. I know they're quite a bit bigger on the window, but I'll have a proper look and see how best to get that done. Closer look at the shutters, they're filthy, so I'll need a good clean, but what I need first is to get them more or less the right size. Now, height-wise, they're not too bad. You see that I can just trim off equally top and bottom. It is actually, if that's now on the bottom, you see it's maybe 1 inch. So centimetre and a bit off top and bottom, that'll be fine. I don't think you'll notice that too much. But I want 2 of these, so I need to make them exactly half width. So there's some sort of nail or dowel in there I'm going to knock out. I'm going to pull this piece of wood off. We'll see which way around, maybe we can see it from the top. Yeah, you see it's not massively grooved, so I should be able to reproduce that and then cut this down to length, cut all of these slats down, and they should just slot back into their holes there, hopefully quite neatly, and then put another whatever cross thing this is here. So that's the plan. I've got all of the metalwork here and everything, so that can be adjusted in height just by unscrewing and trimming down. So I'm going to have to take all of the metalwork off anyway, and we'll need different hinges, which is fine. I can pick those up from the builder's yards, but these are very nice old shutters, and so a big pair for the door, which I want to go on here. I'll open left and right, and that should look quite nice. A little pair for the window here, and I did get another little pair, not for that window, I think those will probably recoverable, but round the corner there is another window, and I might well get another 2 sets of the door ones for back there for the terrace, but those are very low doors and these are very high, and that is quite a high door, so I don't know how easy it'll be to adjust the height of them more than just a couple of centimeters. So we'll have to see. I picked them up for €15 a pair, which I thought was fair enough, and they're, other than being very dirty, they're in very good condition. So I'm going to mix my bucket of muck, and I'm going to start doing things like that. And up there, and then I can take out the rest of those little end bits of wood and pull out the rest of these nails. I'm going to be spraying all of this wood as I did the terrace. I've still got lots of that in the little sprayer, but the first thing I want to do actually now is get some plaster on the wall, because that obviously has a drying time, and the sooner I get started the better that's going to be. Okay, well there goes the first bucket of plaster. It's layered, so obviously that's the first layer, just like the column over there. It looks a lot better than it did. Scrape it down with one of those flat scrapey things. But that's not too bad, it's a good start. Over here around the window and up towards where the staircase was, I've started layering in as well, the big holes. So I'm going to let that set now, and I think probably definitely tidy up a little bit, and then maybe start taking one of those shutters to pieces so that I can go down to the builders merchants later on, pick up some pellets and the hinges and whatnot that I'm going to need for that. Well, because they were stood here, I did just kick off on this first one to see, so I've managed to knock 2 of these out. These were in here. That seems to be what's holding it together. Now it's going to be a bit of wiggling and seeing if I can get that tenon to dislodge. And these lats, I can't see any way other than glue probably that's holding them in. I'm going to have a quick internet search, see if there's a clever way to get rid of wood glue. And then if I find one, I'll use it. Otherwise, it'll be a bit of hammering, and we'll see. Okay, slight change of plans. The bit I need to keep is this bit. So I'm going to cut here and there, and see how the rest of it's stuck together, because it'll probably be easier then to get that bit of wood out. And I do have 2 spare shutters, just in case. So there was a huge stack of them. I can always go and get more, but I need 1 pair on here and on there before I can get really much further here. So I'm going to cut, and we'll see if it then comes apart or not. That worked brilliantly. I did drop a slat there, but that means I can take them out, set them up and cut them one by one. Unfortunately, they are slotted, so it's sort of half-half to keep them in the right place. So I'm going to have to see how I deal with that, if I deal with that at all. But I might just be able to strap them all together and run the circular saw down, and we'll have to see. But it came apart very well, so that leaves me this bit here, which is grooved, and I'm going to try and take out the top bits and see how they're fitted together next. See if this will it might just actually, I get a knockometer over here. Oops, excuse the filming, one-handed. Yeah, there There's a little bit of movement there, I think, but only a very little bit. I have to see. So I'm going to knock it around a bit more off camera, and then I'll show you. Okay, so the tenon is that deep, but only to here, and then, which would explain why there's that that cross nail in there. It gets wider there, so I'm going to have to just drill out all of this. And because I've made a hole, I'm going to put a dowel through there, and that'll be fine. So it'll be this, presumably identical at the other end. So it actually makes sense to drill before I get back in there with the hammer. And then I'll start measuring up. I'm guessing I'm going to have little shutters about yay wide. Put new metalwork on them. Get some stuff in the wall, and Bob's your mother's brother. So this is going pretty smoothly. I shouldn't have said that, but I did. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. After that quick trip to the DIY store, I did get slightly sidetracked on a couple of other things. So I installed I don't know what it's called, the thing that sucks the cooking air up and filters it. And I prepared dinner for this evening, so now this has dried out quite nicely. This actually looks quite good. It's a good scrape. The beginning of the corners, this is not dry, obviously much thicker there, but it's getting there. And over there, it's beginning to get there as well. But I'm going to, now that I've picked up some bits and bobs, I'm going to keep going on this, and I'm going to try and make a first shutter. I got some hinges, I've got a chisel, which I didn't have, a little mitre box. So I'm going to play around with this and see how far I can get. So I've measured the width of the window, and I've left myself a little bit of margin, so there are a few millimetres left, right and in the middle. So what I'm going to do is, basically this is the width, the full width of the shutter. So I need to line up this, I need to subtract, this is exactly 8 centimetres from there to there. So I'll take the 8 centimetres off there, and then we'll cut here. I'm going to take out all of the slats, and I'm going to start by making just a frame. And if I can get that frame square, I can pull it apart again, and then we'll see how we proceed. We nearly forgot that I'm going to need a tendon as well. So this is our length, and this is where I'm going to cut to, so that I have a tendon that will go tendon, I don't know. Anyway, out to here. So I'm going to cut there, get the other end exactly the same length, and then I've got that little mitre box that I picked up earlier on. I'm going to trim around and drill this out, and hopefully we'll get some sort of a frame within the next 20 minutes or so. Okay, well, I'm not a great woodworker, but that doesn't seem to have come out too badly. It's not quite square. We need to trim down here a bit, and I'm just going to get on and do the same on the other end, and then we'll try and get the frame together. That would be a real result. So with a very little bit of fine-tuning, there's like a little millimetre gap there. This frame then just needs trimming on the top and bottom. Will sit in there as half a window. And the kids bashing it out inside, so it's going to probably be quitting time, I think, for today. But I'm quite happy with that. The next question is going to be how to do the slats. Shall I try and get them the way they were, which is a lot of work, or should I cut both ends and put them in and then staple them with my compressor gun, which I think would make them look more like this, which don't stick out and overlap. So so I might go for the easy one, with the good excuse that it'll make it look nicer with the house. Oh, someone's had themselves. Right, better go in then. Okay, so it wasn't a real drama, but there we go. I've got these trimmed up. That is now square. I've learnt quite a lot, so I'll be able hopefully to get it going a little bit quicker on the other side, which is what I shall do first thing tomorrow. I've got some hinges. Let me show you those. In my Brico bag. So they're pretty classic, and they will just go on here like that, and then onto the wall, hopefully, with some, I did buy some very long sort of screw bolts, and hopefully we'll get enough grip on there to hold these on for a couple of 100 years. That's the plan anyway. Okay, well, lights are on again, looking great. I really do like this. So I'm going to mix up just a little bit more plaster now before knocking off time. I'm going to go over this again, and I'm going to go over that again, just to get that a little bit further for tomorrow. I'm going to leave that big bolt there. That was what the whole staircase and everything was hung on, so maybe hang something on there eventually. But I just want to get a little bit more plaster on the wall, because every little counts, and it's not quite dark yet, so I have a little bit of time. Okay, well that really is it for today. I've done a little bit more there. I did some up there, but my shoulder started to go, ooh, don't do that now. So so I've gone around the window again, filled up. We're definitely getting closer to a squarish sort of a thing, which is good. And that's looking much, much better. So it's now time for me to go and have a quick shower. And once I've had my quick shower, it's going to be time for me to go and have an aperitif. That's definitely it for today. Thank you very much. I'll probably keep this video going tomorrow, so you won't, this won't be the end of the end. Hopefully tomorrow the weather will pick up a lot. Tomorrow is Saturday already, so it wasn't a bad day today. After, you know, there were a few bits on the side, like going to the DIY store and putting up the extractor. That's what I think it's called, the extractor, and buying pellets and doing things like that. But basically, not bad at all. And if the weather picks up, it'll be even more fun. So I'll see you in a couple of seconds, I guess, for you guys. Okay, well, here we are the next morning. It's not raining anymore. It's looking much, much better. So bits I plastered yesterday, they're slowly drying out. It's going to be nice and sunny and warm this afternoon, so I might go and do something else with the kids around the window. It's definitely getting there as well. There's going to be lots of tidying up, and there will be a lot more plastering to do. But what I'm going to do now is keep going on these shutters. So I've got my cap saw there, and the first thing I'm going to do, because I've decided not to try and cut this, which is sort of a sideways slot into the top of each one, because A, I'm not going to manage to do that, and B, it will take forever to try. So what I'm going to do is cut them square on one end first, then measure up, and then we'll get them all the right length, glue this one shutter completely together, and then get started on the other one, which is behind me here. So that's basically the plan, is to get this together more or less by lunchtime. That would be good. Okay, well now it's just a question of getting them all lined up, and that seems to be quite complicated, so it's probably just going to be time consuming, but it should work. The sun is now properly out. It's actually getting pretty warm here. So I'm not going to time lapse all of this because it'll probably take quite a while. Maybe I'll learn how to do it better for the next time, but I'm just going to try and get them all in now, and I'll show you how I got on in a minute. Okay, well that's all back together. It's not a perfect fit everywhere, so I will be going over it again with some wood filler and glue once this is set. So I don't really want to touch it anymore. And obviously they'll be painted, so I think it'll be fine. Quick sand around the edges. Yeah, I think it'll look acceptable. I don't think it'll draw attention to itself, so it'll probably look quite good once they're hung and opened. So now I have a little helper, and little helper wants to fix this railing up here. So we're going to knock that straight, wire brush it, and then I got where is it here, a metal pole, and we'll just weld that in there. So that's the plan for now. With a couple of knocks on the hammer, that's gotten that straighter. Although it is pretty tough stuff, and it's also slightly dislodged that, so I have to reseal that. So the plan is pretty simple. Drill a hole here, put this rod into that hole, cut it at 45 degrees and weld it through that hole, and then seal at the bottom with some mortar, and that should hold for long enough and certainly make it look nicer. So the first thing I'm going to do is wire brush with the big angle grinder to get all the paint off, and also let me weld it. Then I'm going to drill the hole, and then we'll weld. I wasn't expecting that to turn up brass. It looks fabulous. So I'd probably stay brass and paint the rest blue. I'll strip that as well, but not right now. I'm going to drill my hole, get the bar in. My little helper's disappeared, but she'll be back in a minute. So I'm going to get the bar set up, cut the angle so I can just weld it in there. And there he is, back for some more. Okay, so it's cut to an angle in the hole. Here's the little welder that we used on the Golf. I'm just going to fill the hole up and weld that together, and that'll be fine. It is a little bit thinner than the other ones, but I don't think that'll be noticeable. So I plug everything together, get my mask out, and then weld it. That's not going anywhere, at the top side at least. Take this out. We'll seal up all three of them, and that should be fine. It's a shame I didn't get the kink out of here, but everything else started to move, and I don't want it to get loose everywhere, so it's just a bit of charm, I guess. Get used to it. So, still, that looks way better, and that worked quite well. So, just now a matter of sealing everything up, taking the paint off that, and they'll be the same blue as the door, and there's a light grey for around the door, and probably for that bottom and the top bits of the arches. So yeah, we're definitely getting there. Let me see what time it is. Well, I've just spent about 4 hours cleaning all of this. Some of it wasn't particularly clean, but now it all is, and it's disinfected. So we've got the fermenters. This is for actually cooking up the beer. This is for cooling the beer. This is the beer here, and there's more. I built this is just to turn on and off this little heating belt, but you'll see all of that tomorrow, because tomorrow is finally now brewing day. It'll be the first brew of my life, so I'm looking forward to that. There'll be a friend from the village coming around to help, and in fact it would appear that most of the village have decided to pop by and see exactly what we're up to. So so that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all tomorrow to make some beer. Thank you very much. Take care, and bye bye for now.